Alright guys, so today we're going to be checking out the brand new Sony WH-XB910N headphones. Now this is in their extra bass lineup, which I've been a huge fan of for quite a while. In fact, the XB900s is still one of my favorite pair to go to when I do want that extra thump in whatever I'm listening to. And the XB910s, they kept at exactly the same price as the XB900s because these do come in at $250. But throughout my testing and kind of comparing these to other models, I think there are several reasons not to buy this pair of headphones. So we're going to talk about those different reasons. We're going to check out what all comes inside the box. We're going to talk about the sound and see why I think it's a good idea to hold off on buying these. So to start with, let's just go ahead and jump into the look of these. These look like a premium pair of Sony headphones. They resemble the Sony WH-1000XM4s quite a bit. Now this pair finally does come with a hard case, because all of the other extra bass headphones previously did not. It also comes with a 3.5mm wired cable and a USB-C cable for charging. And let's go ahead and talk about the battery life, because I do think this is impressive, because if you decide to use these with the active noise canceling turned off, you can get up to 50 hours on a single charge. But if you do just decide to use them with the ANC on, you're going to get around 30 hours total. And if you do happen to pick them up and they are dead, it does have a fast charge feature where a quick 10-minute charge will get you 4.5 hours of use. So battery life is actually very impressive on this pair. Some other technology that these are using is they do have Bluetooth 5.2. They also support LDAC, AAC, and SBC, so there's no aptX playback, but having LDAC with this being a pair of Sony is a huge plus because your Bluetooth audio is going to sound as close to CD quality as possible. Now this pair also has multi-point connection where you can actually be paired to two devices at a time. So if you're on your laptop, you can still be paired to your phone, so if somebody calls in, you don't have to go in settings and switch things, and it just makes things work a little more seamlessly. But if you are going to be using the multi-point connection, it will not allow you to use LDAC, so definitely keep that in mind. Now, one of the biggest strengths, as with most Sony headphones, is it does work with Sony's app, and Sony's app is one of the best ones out there. It does have some pre-built EQ settings. It also allows you to custom EQ these yourself. It has the adaptive active noise canceling, so it will just kind of change your noise canceling depending on what setting or situation you're in. It also has the 360 audio compatibility, so if you're going to use apps like Tidal and any other apps that have that 360 audio, this is a nice feature to have. Now it also has the DSEE switch that you can turn on. I like this because it will just digitally upscale your audio and make sure that you're getting the best audio you can without having any type of compression. So now let's just go ahead and jump into the active noise canceling in this pair, because if you're familiar with the WH-1000XM4s, that's pretty much the top when it comes to noise canceling headphones. Most people, that's their go-to, that's the one that they recommend. So you would think that this pair would have stellar active noise canceling just like those. But I can tell you right now, you can tell that Sony kind of dialed it back a little bit so that this pair is not competing with the XM4s, because the noise canceling on the 910s are very good. It's just not as good as the XM4s. It does a really good job of blocking out engine noises, air conditioner units, a lot of that lower rumble, and it actually does a very good job of blocking out voices as well. But it just doesn't make you feel like things are completely silent like the XM4s do. And as far as the ambient mode, which you just kind of turn on by holding the right ear cup, it just turns the microphones on to be able to bring in your surroundings. You could easily carry on a conversation with somebody without taking your headphones off. And I think they did a really good job with this. Now moving back over to looking at the headphones themselves, the build quality is all plastic, but it is very flexible. It's not a pair that I ever worried was going to snap no matter how much I bend or twist these. Now it does kind of have a textured feel on the plastic part of the headband. Now it also has the leather type padding that the XM4s have, and it also has very similar ear cups. Now I do feel like the ear cups on these are a little bit deeper than the XM4s, but I had no issue with my ear fitting in these. There's a lot of give to them, and it's just a very comfortable pair of headphones. Now, as far as the physical buttons and inputs on this headphone, everything is located on the left side. That's where you have your power button, which is also your Bluetooth pairing button. You have a noise canceling and ambient mode button. And then you also have your 3.5mm input and your USB-C input. So all of that's on the left side. Where on the right side is where your touch and tap controls are located. And you do have the ability to control everything. It's basically the swipe up and down for your volume, swipe forward and backwards for your track controls. You tap it to pause it. You also have the ability to use pretty much any smart assistant that you want on this pair. It does have Google's Assistant built in, but it also has Amazon's Assistant. And then of course you could use Siri if you're using an iOS device. Now, one feature that they definitely left out on this pair that I was kind of expecting is these do not have a smart sensor. So if you take your headphones off, it doesn't automatically pause, and then it doesn't resume when you put them back on. But if you do happen to leave your headphones off and you're not playing music for about 15 minutes, it will shut off that way. But I really wish that this pair had the smart sensors because I've gotten used to just taking my headphones off if somebody comes to talk to me and I know that my headphones are paused, and it's just nice for it to just resume when I put them back on. Now, for you guys that do like to use your headphones or earbuds or whatever to take phone calls, this is one of those pairs that I think does a very good job of picking up my voice, and it also does a really good job of blocking out a lot of the surroundings. So if you're going to take phone calls in a noisy environment, this is one of those pairs that I think definitely excels when it comes to that. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
All right, guys. So here is a mic test using the XB910s. As you can tell, I think it picks up my voice pretty well. It even picks up bass tones pretty nicely. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound, because the sound is where it really starts to get messy for me, because I really enjoyed the XB900s because it just gave you so much bass, but it didn't feel sloppy. And I think that's where the 910Ns kind of drop the ball. It gives you a lot of bass, but there's no control to it at all. It just feels like they're just throwing it all out there to a point where out of the box, the mids and the highs really suffered because of this. So I found that switching it over into the bright EQ setting definitely helped these a lot. In fact, that's the only EQ setting that I found that I could enjoy this pair of headphones in, because that allowed my mids to step forward to where I could hear details in vocalists, or at least just hear vocalists at all, because I felt like any other setting, the bass was just pushing them so far back. But in the bright EQ setting, I definitely like where the mids sat there. Same thing with the treble. The treble definitely tuned to a point of being very bright, which it kind of had to be to kind of counterbalance this bloated bass. Because if you just listen to them the way that they sound out of the box, these lack detail. They lack crispness. They just sound very dull because the bass is just doing too much. Now, I like the Skullcandy Crusher lineup of headphones. I liked the previous model of these, so it's not that I'm against bass at all. I absolutely love bass. I love to just have my head rattling at times depending on what I'm listening to, but I don't like to sacrifice everything else. Because another thing that you have to sacrifice is the sound stage and the sound imaging. It closes this pair in, and out of the box, it lacks the detail to really be able to tell where everything's coming from. You have to play around with EQ options to get the most out of these headphones. So that's what brings me to the overall conclusion of this is not a pair that I would recommend right now. And the reason I'm saying that is the WH-1000XM4s, which is Sony's flagship Bluetooth headphone. That pair is on sale right now for $250, which is the same price as these. And another thing is the XB900s, which I feel are a better pair of headphones. They're on sale most of the time for $150. So they're $100 cheaper than these. And I feel like the audio quality is better on those. So if you are interested in checking these out, I would say wait until they go on sale, because Sony headphones go on sale all the time. If it's around $150, I might recommend them then, but I'd still say you're going to have to play around with EQ settings to get a better sound out of these. I just don't like the way that they're tuned out of the box. I kind of feel like they're a mess when it comes to the bass, and I felt like Sony has done it better in other headphones. So it's kind of hard to recommend these at their current state, but because they work with Sony's app, there's a lot of things that Sony can do to send updates to try to fix these. So hopefully they do. But guys, that's my video on the brand new Sony WH-XB910Ns. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.